Hey guys, you're listening to Wingin' It with Holly. In this podcast series, I'll be sharing the fun and interesting things I've learned about birds since I started really noticing them 5 years ago. I'm no expert though, so along the way I'll be picking the brains of my knowledgeable birdie friends, the human ones that is, so we can learn and wing it together. You can see birds anywhere, in a city or the countryside, watching from a balcony or your local park. And I'm hoping these short episodes will help you notice and learn more about our feathered friends, especially if you have never taken the time to get to know them before. In this episode, I show my sister a fun and easy way to tell the difference between our most common pigeon and dove species. And then I put her newfound knowledge to the test. So I decided to drag my sister to our local park, and I'm going to I know you know a little bit of this already, but I'm going to kind of teach you and how to identify 3 types of pigeons, both by sight and by sound, and then later on we're going to go around the park and I'm going to test you.
Yes.
So throughout this episode we're talking about 3 types of pigeons: a feral pigeon, collared dove, and wood pigeon. So we'll go into more detail about what they look like and what they sound like. I will also be referencing a book called RSPB Guide to Birdsong, which was written by someone I know, a wonderful man called Adrian Thomas, who works at the RSPB. He wrote this amazing book, and his book comes with loads of recordings, so it's a really, really cool way of learning about how the sounds that are going on around you and what the hell they're coming from. So I will be referencing his book and his technique throughout this. But before we get into pigeons, I'm going to introduce my sister Chloe, who is in fact the very artiste behind the artwork of Wingin' It with Holly.
Sure.
So do you want to tell us a little bit about what you do?
Okay. So I do graphic design and model making, and I specialise in illustration and prop making.
Cool. Second question: what is your favourite bird?
My favourite bird is an albatross. I know that they were endangered, and I still think they are endangered. I found out that they were endangered when I was in year 9, so that's, oh god, this makes me feel old. I was 13, so like almost 20 years ago. Oh god, that's horrible. And I fell in love with them. I love that they've got the largest wingspan of all birds. I love that they mate for life generally, and they do a mating ritual, and that they have a mating / mating kind of beak dance that they do so that they know who their partner is. I know that they live a very long time, and it is really saddening to hear. I read all about this when I was a lot younger, and I was very upset to hear that they were endangered, and I think even 20 years later they still are, which is a massive shame. But I think they're absolutely beautiful.
Yeah. No, good choice.
Thank you. I could have gone for a really pretty bird.
Thank you.
Oh, I do like robins too, obviously. I can't leave out Robin over here, who's literally staring at us down, and he wants my croissant. Sorry, mate. You're like number 3. Yeah, I'd say number 3 on my list.
All right, let's get into pigeons. So,
Pidge.
Okay, so I'm just gonna describe sort of firstly by, how to identify them by sight. So, because, a lot of people might think there's more than one type of pigeon. Aren't they all just the same? But no. So I'm focusing on 3 that come under the pigeons and doves family. So the feral pigeon, let's start. That's number 1. Feral pigeon are the ones
The rats of the sky.
Chloe, no. they are kind of the ones that you see
hobbling
everywhere.
Around under and underground in Peckham.
They've adapted really well to cities. So like Trafalgar Square, all the ones that sort of come and sit on your head.
Yeah.
They're feral pigeons.
The ones that poop on your head when you're walking under a bridge. Those ones.
But feral pigeons they're grey, and they're a mixture. No, I say they're grey. Feral pigeons can their patterning and their colour can vary. So you can get ones that are a mixture of grey and dark grey. Some have white in them, some have brown in them. So basically pigeons don't necessarily all look the same. So bear that in mind.
Speckly white.
Speckly white.
Sometimes all white, but just with one black eye.
You know, so that is number one in terms of the order of how we're describing.
Feral pigeon.
Yes, feral pigeon, number one. Number two, we're talking about the collared dove. So collared doves are a similar size to feral pigeons, but they have they're a sort of creamy, browny, grey colour.
Yeah.
All the same colour, except they have this
White.
no, it's like a black or dark, literally like a collar round their neck. That looks like a necklace.
Same size as a feral pigeon?
Yeah, they're about the same. I think like maybe 2 centimeters kind of smaller. So basically the same size, and they tend, I believe, to go around in couples. That's what I like about them. And also not to be confused with the turtle dove, which is in the Christmas song,
And which is the most rarest
like
bird, right?
It's on the verge of extinction. That's how their decline is really, really bad. So collared doves, not to be confused with turtle doves, they have deep red eyes and reddish feet. And they
There's a look.
sort of
Oh no, that's a collared dove.
that's the collared dove. Okay, so that's number 2, and number 3 is the wood pigeon. Now wood pigeons, you'll definitely recognize a wood pigeon. They actually all look the same, so as opposed to feral pigeons, which kind of can vary slightly in their patterning. Wood pigeons pretty much all look the same. So they are bigger,
Big boys.
Girls. They're bigger, like I don't been joined by some pigeons, which is very apt.
We've actually been joined by some pigeons, and one of them is all white.
So wood pigeons,
they're almost like the size of a chicken, right?
No, not quite, but they are. They're definitely bigger. They have like grey bodies and like a sort of browny grey wings.
Yep.
Back feathers, and then they have a splash of green and white around the collar. What I really love about wood pigeons is that whenever you see them on a branch, they always look like they're way too big to be sat on that branch. Exactly, like they're really treading. I mean,
And they're like wobbling on like a trapeze or something. Like,
you just feel like that branch is going to break. That and that's what I like about wood pigeons.
they're ballsy.
They are brave.
Brave. They're brave. They've got gusto.
Yeah.
And gumption.
So those are the 3. And now I'm going to share a really fun technique to identify them by sound. And I'm telling you, you will have heard this sound. It will literally have been like the soundtrack to your life.
Yeah.
But you'll be able to actually know what actually you're listening to. No, Robin, this isn't about you.
This isn't about
right
you
now.
today, Robin. It's about the pigeons.
Okay, so the feral pigeon. The way that I like to remember the patterning of their song or their sound, if you like, is 1. Feral pigeons 1. Just remember this, okay?
Yeah,
Feral pigeons 1. Collared dove 3.
Collared dove 3.
Wood pigeon 5.
5. Ooh.
Okay, let me explain.
Gumption.
So the feral pigeon, basically, they have just one note, okay, and it's like this. Oh, no. Go on.
You could say that's multiple.
No, that's just one note. Is they also do a kind of like a
So they've actually got 2.
No, 2 different types, but just with one note.
Right. So you're talking how many crotchets they know?
Yes.
How many beats they have?
No, one note.
One note.
Did you know that actually female pigeons, they do coo, but not as much as the males. So the ones that you hear that are like they will generally, I think, be males trying to attract a mate.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, do you remember that?
Yep.
Cool. Collared doves. Now, 3. Remember 3. And I love this one. So I am going to steal the technique from Adrian Thomas's book.
Yeah.
So what he said is that they sound like really bored football fans saying, United, United. Now, whether they are Man U supporters or Sheffield or West Ham, that's to be decided.
Yeah.
I don't know. But
You will not get involved in that.
no, hell no. So yeah, it's 3 notes. United, United. Actually, sometimes I feel it sounds like more like United.
So is there one happening right now?
Let's see.
Because I keep hearing. Ooh, ooh, ooh. There, yeah. Did you hear that?
Yeah, well done.
There's one to our right somewhere. It's quite far. It must be quite far away in that bush.
But you definitely recognise that sound, right?
Yeah.
So that's a collared dove. That's not a feral pigeon or a wood pigeon.
Right. There we go.
There we go. So that's
soundtrack of my life.
okay, so over to wood pigeons. I like this one as well. So wood pigeons, according to Adrian, sound like they're saying, I don't want to go. I don't want to go. So that's 5 notes. Tell me you don't. That's not the soundtrack to your life.
What's that? The collared dove. We thought there was going to be one on cue. It would be perfect. I don't want to go.
I don't want to go. So it's 5 notes.
There is really a collared dove really trying to get in on this recording. But yeah, I that is also a very familiar sound.
Really?
Yes. Like when you go camping and you wake up quite early in the morning because the sunshine is like keeping you. It's too hot, and you can just hear. There's a few whistly sounds, and then you always hear the hoo 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 hoo.
Right.
And hoo hoo hoo. United.
So.
Oh, the robin's back.
So again, another way to remember that is it's got 5 notes, and the wood pigeon is bigger.
Like the bigger they get,
the more notes
you will receive.
I say that feral pigeons are marginally bigger than collared doves, but we're just gonna forget that, aren't we? So before I go out and test your newfound knowledge, which is gonna be life-changing for you,
It's so life-changing.
what does a collared dove sound like it's saying?
United. It's that one right there.
What does a feral pigeon sound like? That's a robin. And what does a wood pigeon sound like? Oh.
I don't want to go. I don't want to go.
Right, let's go out and find some bird song.
How lucky are we?
Whilst we're on the hunt for some pigeons, did you want to tell us about that story about when you were in Barbados? But
Holly loves this story. I was in Barbados. I arrived, and then I went to the concierge, or the host, and I was like, "Wow, these birds are really beautiful. What do you call one of these?" She said, "That's a common pigeon."
And she must have thought, oh, this poor girl, she's never seen a common pigeon before. But I assume, because you were in Barbados, they looked... What the hell? A squirrel just climbed up Chloe's leg.
Where's your phone?
I assume because you didn't recognise it, it was a pigeon that looked different to our pigeons.
Yeah, so the Bayesian... Sorry about my crumbling. The Bayesian pigeon has got it's smaller than the feral. It's red and speckly, but it still does have that kind of like multi-tonal kind of neck. Mm-hmm. What's that called when it's like it shines 2 different colours? They're very beautiful.
Well, it's iridescent.
Iridescent. It's like blue and purple. It has that kind of vibe around its neck, but it's smaller, has a white underbelly.
There is a squirrel climbing my leg. Oh my god. What the? Every time I do one of these, another animal wants to take all the attention. Right, okay. We can hear a pigeon right now, Chloe. What is it? Hang on, let's see if we get the sound first.
That is definitely a male feral pigeon chasing a female pigeon. Look at it. Yeah, it's very grumbly, isn't it?
So how do you know it's a feral pigeon?
Because it's just one like... Also, I'm looking at it.
Yeah. All right, we didn't have to tell everyone that. Yeah, there is literally about 50 feral pigeons in front of us. So she had the advantage of actually being able to see what we were identifying. Okay, that's a feral pigeon. Now we're going to go find the others. Should we go climb down here?
United!
Right, let's not slip, eh?
United! That, my friend, is a collared pigeon. Collared dove.
But what team does it support?
United! Sheffield. Away! Menu! Ah!
So, you see the bird up there? Based on what I said earlier, how do you know what that is?
That, my friend, is a very precariously perched wood pigeon sat amongst the branches of a tree. He's huge.
Doesn't he look like he's too big for that branch?
Yeah, he looks like he's about to topple forward or topple back.
You can also see what's out on the left.
That is I can't really see because it's a shadow. That's a collared, no. Yeah, it's a collared dove. Collared dove.
Tell us what you see.
It's kind of creamier. We were trying to describe the colour earlier, but yeah, it's like kind of creamy brown, like beige.
Some blue tits are trying to steal the show behind us.
Behind us here. Very, very beautiful.
You know, the other thing I like about pigeons is that whereas arguably other birds keep it quite sensible and they only breed during the breeding spring season, pigeons, they just go for it all year round. Any opportunity to have a baby and they'll do it. So you can find pigeons nesting in the winter, in like the autumn, spring, summer. They are just at it.
Like rabbits, but not like rabbits, like pigeons.
You know,
rabbits are seasonal. So actually, why do we ever say at it like rabbits? We should say at it like pigeons. It doesn't have the same ring to it, does it?
That's a live question and a half. We're running. We found one in the distance. I bet it's going to stop as soon as we get there. So how do you know that's called a wood pigeon?
Because it's going, I don't want to go.
So these three...
we've actually seen two. We've got two on one tree. Over to my right.
But these sounds, I mean, everyone has heard these sounds, right?
They're like the backing soundtrack to all of our lives. Backing track.
I do think they are. But now you actually know what you're hearing. I much prefer the fact that now I know what I'm listening to. United. All right. Okay, I think we can finish there. So basically, to conclude, feral pigeon, they like to keep it simples with one note.
Shag all year round.
Yeah. Collared doves, they have 3 notes and they are United fans. Which team is undecided? We're not going to engage with that argument, are we? So that's United. And then wood pigeons, they are bigger and they tend to sit on very small branches even though they're massive. They have 5 notes. I don't want to go. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed that and you can now identify Pigeons. Yay!
Thanks, Hole.
Thanks, Chloe.
Thanks to the robin.
Thanks to the robin.
Thanks to the squirrel.
Thanks to all our wildlife friends.
Thanks to the club one.
Until next time. Thank you for listening to this episode. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and if you have any birdie questions you'd like me to explore in this podcast, you can get in touch via my Instagram @WingingItWithHolly.